All right, welcome back. This is Tyrell from the Nosebleeds. First off, I just want to say thank you all for watching the previous videos. Thank you for watching the two reactions, part one and part two of the Raja Psycho incident. I got different glasses on, just came from work and decided to toss these on after I saw new video evidence of a different angle. Actually, a new video that came out or it got clipped about what was Raja's intent. And he's talking to the live stream. So we're going to view that video. We're going to react to that. And then also, what we're going to talk about is the difference between attempted murder. This video is not going to get monetized. And I'm just going to keep it a buck with you guys. So we're going to talk about the difference between attempted murder and aggravated assault. And I know some of the language can get misconstrued. I just want to say I am not a lawyer, so I'm going to be basing this off of some experience that I know, and also just talking about the different language and understanding of the two different laws. I've seen a lot of people talk about that he should definitely go down as for attempted murder. I will explain why I don't think that should be the case based off of the two different laws. I could change my mind on that, but we're going to talk about this again, unbiased, try to not be as emotional about it, and let's think about this from a logical standpoint. Again, there is the court of public, and then there is the court of law, and that is what matters, is the court of law. So first of all, let's just talk about this, right? I know a lot of people have been wanting to have a warrant out for his arrest. Now, please understand that the prosecutor and whoever has, and the detectives have to show the judge or whoever the judge is enough evidence of issuing a warrant for his arrest. And I know from our point of view is clear as day, whatever it may be, but there's a lot of legality behind even issuing a warrant. And I know that there is a misperception on professional wrestling, not only just to the public, but also in the court system. Let's be honest here. So they have to fight against all of that before they can even decide to go to a judge and convince the judge to issue an arrest warrant. That I do know for sure. I think most people know that for sure. So I think that's why it's taking a little bit of time for an arrest warrant. I have not read anything for an arrest warrant. Like I said, I'm just getting off of work. I did see some things. Like I said, from my understanding, from what I read last time, that is that Psycho is doing okay. He's up and recovering, and we're just praying for a speedy recovery for Psycho. I don't think I emphasized that in the last video, is that we are praying for Psycho. We are absolutely praying that he can make a speedy recovery. When I recorded the video yesterday, didn't realize that he used wrestling to get over his PTSD after serving 15 years in the military. So Psycho Stu, thank you for your service. We are praying that you pull, that you can kick out at two on this. We're glad that you're at least awake, and we're just praying for you and your family. And that's all I can really do on it. But we are praying, and I'm not just saying that just to say that. I literally said a prayer for him yesterday, and we'll continue to say a prayer for him and his family in this time of need. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Raja Jackson. We know about the incident. Just in case you don't know about the incident, I will link up. I think it's going to be on this corner. It might be this one, but I think it's on this one. That little information card thing that slides over. I will link the first two videos, because part one got cut off. So I will link those two videos in that card, or how many videos I can link, and then it will also be linked at the end of these videos as well. So let's get into this new angle. Let's get into this new video. We're gonna go ahead and screen share. Second time doing it, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm turned off my camera by accident. Maybe some people would like that. We're gonna go ahead and screen share, and then we're gonna look at the video, then we're gonna look at the two different laws between aggravated assault and attempted murder, because I don't think it's anything less than an aggravated assault. It could go as high as attempted murder, but I think there is too much to try to prove attempted murder to the judge for a warrant of arrest or even a prosecution. So let's go ahead and get into the video and get into the two laws and then my opinions on all of that. Right. Go ahead and do that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and scroll up. Make sure our speakers are on. All right. Let's go ahead and react to this video.
Me off, bro. It didn't even hurt. It just pissed me off. And shit pissed me off. And I'm gonna have to get them back. They said I can go in the ring and get it that. I don't even know what I'm gonna do to them. Bro, my dad can't do shit. I'm gonna fake crash out. All right, bet. Bet. You about to see you about to see how fake of a crash out I am.
Heard what he said? Someone said to him, "You're a fake crash out." He said, "I'm a fake crash out." Bet.
Okay, so this is my first time seeing this video, so I didn't know there's
It's
a
always been
reaction
my
to
dream to
this.
fuck up a pro wrestler for real. So I get it today. Am I really gonna fight him? Yeah, I'm gonna punch his ass for real. But I don't believe in me getting disrespected too. I'm too nice. Bet. That shit was not staged. I'm telling you that right now. How many subs to knock him out? That's a good question. 50 subs to knock him out. If he hits me back for real, I don't give a fuck. I want him to. Y'all want me to teabag him? People think this shit's sweet. People think this shit's a fucking game. Hey, you're right, Joel. I gotta show him some form of respect. Then they don't train no goddamn martial arts. I'm really
All right, let's pause here for a minute. Okay. And the reason why I'm pausing here is because this streaming shit has like let's be clear. This streaming shit has gotten out of control. And with his emotions being at an all-time high based off of what happened, it doesn't help. Now, let me before I get into this next take, right? Before I even say anything else, I want to be clear that I am a firm believer that no matter who's trying to provoke who, no matter what the situation is, right? You can only control your own actions. Even when provoked, you have to find a way to try to control your actions and your emotional state. With that being said, now a lot of people think like that. A lot of people will go, well, this person drove me to this, or this person convinced me to do that, or this, that, and third. We've all seen people do something out of their character or something incorrect and be like, well, this person said this, or this person said I should do. At the end of the day, what my father and what my mother and what my grandmother, my entire foundation of my family has always taught me, no matter what or someone says or do to you, the only control you have is your own self-control. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Now, does it always happen like that? Is it always black and white like that? No. But at the end of the day, you have control over your own actions and your own emotion. It's just like if one of you guys say something very offensive to me, could that make me upset? Yes. But what I do, I am in control of that at the end of the day. There's only so much I can let people provoke me on. Right? Now, it's completely different. I have to protect my family, whatever may be. That's one thing. But we're talking about an incident where Roger got hit in the head with a beer can. His live stream saw it. Okay. And now, from the point of view of his fans, or the people watching the live stream, who also, let's be real here, if Raja don't know how to work, they damn sure ain't thinking of it as the beer can spot as a work. And Raja's commentating on this. The chat is provoking. Now, he's already mad. He's already upset. Now the chat is provoking him. Again, not defending the fact that provocation leads to this, but now the chat is provoking. He's reacting to the people in the chat provoking him. That is already an added on layer to this incident. And I want to say this as well, going back to part 2, for anybody that did or did not watch part 2. When I said it was a taken over the top mistake, watching this video, this was not a mistake. I did think he had intent to it, but he had intent to do harm, but not to the extent that he actually did it on. And I still kind of believe that, but he had clear intent to harm. And I don't think this was a complete impulse mistake. This will be a mistake when he looks back on this, when he gets older. He will see this as a major mistake in his life. But as far as an impulsive mistake, no, this is not an impulsive mistake. But I do want to analyze the fact that the chat is firing him up. He's already at a 7 or 8. Now the chat is firing him up, or he feels like the chat is firing him up to a 9 to a 10 because now, from his point of view, he can't show the chat that he's a punk ass bitch.
Going to hit him. I'm telling you. What should I do, chat? Should I pick him up? Should I slam him first or hit him? W, if I should slam him first, I'm not fucking around. You don't think I can do it, Miggy?
Okay. Now he asks the chat what he should do. Should hit W for a slam. Another reaction to that. So now he's looking for the chat. Now the chat done riled him up. Now he's looking for the chat to determine what he will do next. Okay. Or what he is going to do when he hits the ring. And again, I firmly believe this in this regard. I don't think nobody in the chat thought he would take it this far, but the chat, just like as I said yesterday, that the promoter, the booker, who wanted to make this into an angle to begin with, that gave him the permission to go ahead and make this into an angle to begin with, is at fault at what happened. He left his wrestler unprotected. Just like the chat is provoking Raja here, is adding flames to the fire. You already got a fire here, and now let's just throw a can of gasoline in there. Let's throw some kerosene in there. Let's throw some lighter fluid in there. Okay, let's throw some more wood in there. All we are doing at this point, between the booker, the promoter, whatever you want to call the guy that told him, hey, we're going to make this into an angle. And I don't know how many people actually saw this, and I don't think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people saw the 2-minute version of it, which was the initial apology and then the aftermath of the apology. But we sat here and watched the 9-minute video together. Okay, we sat here and watched the 9-minute video together, and clearly we saw there was more to it. And when people were like, well, he claimed that the promoter told him to go fuck it up. We analyzed on this channel from Raja's point of view. Yes, the promoter did tell him. When the promoter sat back and said, when the booker sat back and said, we're now going to turn this into an angle. We are now going to turn this to an angle. And when we turn that into an angle, you're going to have your chance to go fuck him up, right? And if you don't believe me, we're going to share this tab right here, and we're going to go back to it.
The fuck was it? Hold on. I don't play that shit, bro.
Oh, sorry.
No, I will fuck him
we're
up,
good.
bro.
I know you will.
No.
We're good.
I will
Sorry
fuck
about
him
that.
up, bro.
I know you will.
I don't play that shit.
Sorry about that.
Nah, I will fuck him up,
I know
bro.
you will. So I got you.
I do not play that shit at all.
Nah, I got you. You good. Apologize for that, man. Fix that. You hear me?
Yeah.
Gracie. So what are you going? Good, dude.
Nah, fuck that, dude.
Oh, so still poquito. Vamos el pies. I don't know. About that, dude. He always think that we're working over here like it's part of the fucking storyline.
Just keep quiet. What kind of homo thug shit?
Well, Kalia, Rampage. That's how we
No, bro.
Go ahead, Stu. This is all good. Because he always think it's a work, dude.
Yo, he's already hot, bro.
Good? I know what you're
Oh, on the left side.
Stu. Now, dude. There you go.
Oh, can you put that down first? Like, seriously.
Like I said,
That's for me.
I know it's for you, but we're
I'm
trying
not
to
gonna
solve
fast
something.
forward just because I don't want to
We don't want
I
no
can't
beef.
remember.
We don't want no problem.
Nah, I'm cool. I'm
There's
cool
an
now, but
understanding.
you know what I'm saying?
You know? We just want to make sure everything's okay. He knows he fucked up. He's trying to apologize and stuff.
Yeah, you think it's part of the,
Yeah.
you know.
We just don't want no problem. You know, we are apologizing. Pauses get out of hand sometimes with, working and stuff, pro wrestling stuff. So, he is very simple. So I understand where you're coming from. I'm a little hot right now, so let's go ahead.
You know what's
chill.
a good thing about this? Now I can make it something. Because I'm going to have you run in and fuck that motherfucker up in the mat.
You know
You
what
ready
I'm
for that?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Bingo. There it is. Now we can turn this into something. I'm going to have you run in there and fuck him up on the mat. When he said this, he thinking everything is calmed down. Things have de-escalated. I can turn this to an angle. We talked about this yesterday. And you can get your potato, get your get back, and work the rest of the way. Again, they just said that. They said earlier in this video, we showed it in part 1, that they said, hey, he's not smart enough. He don't know how to work. He think it's just shoot. So now you tell him you get the chance to fuck him up. Raja thinks this is nothing but a shoot. So it's been sitting on him for the last hour or two. And the chat doesn't help. Now let's go back to this video.
Bet. My dad can't never call me a bitch. Fuck this dude. Oh, you think he's stronger than me? All right, Suave, watch. Shut the fuck up.
Okay. So again, somebody in the chat says this dude is stronger than you, this and third. So this kind of goes back to what he said after the event, the sense of they're not going to keep playing on my name and all this. I think when he said that, I think he was talking to the chat on that. Okay. When he was saying, I'm not going to be called no bitch, this, that, you can clearly tell by his reaction to the chat that they are literally just continuously throwing wood, kerosene, gasoline, diesel, whatever is flammable, they're throwing it onto the fire. And it doesn't help that he don't have in this moment the mental or emotional capacity to not let the chat provoke him. He out here to prove a point that he ain't no bitch.
Up, Suave. I bet you would be talking like this if you was in front of me, nigga. Chat, watch what I do to him. Tony, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you, Tony.
A few moments later.
Okay, and then we're not gonna play that part. Okay. So as you can see, that the chat is continuously provoking him. Again, the flame is in control. How much flame? Eventually, flame, right? Let's think about, most people have a fire pit in their backyard, okay? And there has to be, I think everybody knows there has to be something, there has to be a multiple plethora of things to start a fire, right? At some point, the fire does go from a fire to embers, okay? One moment you got this raging fire, you got this huge raging fire, and eventually it is, if you don't throw anything else on it, it eventually subsides, right? And there's two ways to kill a fire fast, right? Water or something wet, okay? Like you throw in wet pieces of wood, like you put out a fire, you throw water on it, okay? Unless it's a grease fire, then you guys put baking powder, baking soda, flour, salt, or cover it up. That's a safety tip for you guys, just in case you didn't know. If there's a grease fire, you cover it or smother it. Your typical bonfire, douse it with water, okay? But when you want that fire to continue, you proceed to throw maybe a little bit more lighter fluid. You throw, paper in there. You throw dry twigs, dry wood. Maybe if you got it from a yard that sells firewood by the bundles, or got it from the store that sells firewood by the bundles, you continuously throw firewood on there. And the only time you don't make the fire, and that makes the fire stronger. Now, the only time you don't make the fire stronger is if you throw something in there that doesn't contribute to the fire, right? So let's say you get a branch. The branch, you throw it in there and the branch is wet, so it's not going to add nothing to the fire. Matter of fact, it might weaken the fire, because no matter what you try to throw in there, now the fire doesn't have the chance to rise up. I think we know how fires work. And I use the fire analogy here because that's exactly what happened. The beer can was the ignition to the fire, right? And for a brief moment, from all sides except for Raj's side, they thought they've doused the flames with enough water, not realizing that they missed a few spots and the embers were still there. And what happens is that if you give the embers enough oxygen and enough fuel, that fire is going to start again, no matter how much water you put on it, because it eventually will outweigh that moisture. It will. And that's what happened here. They thought they doused the fire. They thought that they doused the emotions, right? De-escalated the situation. But as I stated in my part one, when there's something of that magnitude, no matter who, it can be just on one end, right? As we clearly saw, Psycho moved on, but the other party did not. And the best choice is to keep them separate. Keep them separate as long as you can. You damn sure don't put them back in the same room a few hours later, an hour later, whatever it may be. You don't do it. This was all bad from day one. This is all bad. From the moment that he said, now we can work an angle and you can fuck him up in the mat. That's all the Ember needed. All you did was give that Ember oxygen. That's all you did was give it oxygen for the flames to eventually rise. And then the chat just kept throwing dry wood after dry wood, after gasoline, after lighter fluid, whatever you want to call it. And eventually the fire got out of control. So that's my reaction to that. So now let's talk about, is this attempted murder or is this aggravated assault? And let's go with aggravated assault. Let's go with attempted murder first. Now we're going to get this off of goldsteinslawgroup.com. This is a criminal defense law group. Been around since 1975. We got this off their website, and we're going to read what is said about attempted murder under California law. So let's go ahead and share this tab. As you can see, this is where we got this from. Then the other one will be from California Code, from the actual California government website. All right. So we're going to read this word for word. We're going to scroll all the way down. I'm not the best out loud reader, but we're going to read this out loud, and then we're going to break this one down, and then we're going to go to the other one. Then we'll get my thoughts. All right. So California Penal Code section 664-187, the crime of attempted murder is covered under California Penal Code section 664/187. In general terms, if you attempt to kill someone, but they don't die, then you will be facing a criminal charge of attempted murder. Pretty sure you guys can read this with me, but we'll go ahead and read it anyway. It is important to note, and a crime is attempted when you have a specific, I know as black people have a hard time saying that word, intent to complete the act, and you took a deliberate and direct step towards completing it. Attempted murder is a serious offense carrying substantial time in a California state prison. For example, a conviction for an attempted first-degree murder charge could lead to a life sentence without the possibility of parole. It is a common myth that you have to have actually physically touched another person to be convicted of an attempted murder. Rather, it only requires that you act in a willful and deliberate manner to kill another person. In fact, attempted murder is commonly referred to as a failed attempt at first-degree murder. However, a Penal Code 664/187 attempted murder charge requires more than just planning a murder. It requires at least one single substantial step towards completing the killing of someone else. This is legal advice right here, so we'll go down to the legal definition of attempted murder. California Penal Code section 664 and 187 provides a straightforward definition of attempted murder as follows: the attempted unlawful killing of another person's or a fetus with malice aforethought. This definition requires further explanation as attempted murder law is complex. In order for the Los Angeles County prosecutor, or pretty much that, or any prosecutor for that matter, because this is a state law, to convict you of attempted murder, they must be able to prove two crucial elements of the crime under Cal Crime 600 jury instructions. You took a direct step towards killing someone. You specifically intended to kill that person. So what exactly is a direct step? It is more than just a planned murder, just a plan to murder someone. Rather, it is the step in putting your plan into some direct action. In other words, a direct step can be just about any type of actual behavior that puts your plan into motion, such as firing a weapon at someone or stabbing them with a knife. Additionally, your direct step must have actually been an attempt to kill a specific person, not just to injure them. You see right there. Let's repeat this sentence. Additionally, your direct step must have actually been to attempt to kill a specific person, not to just injure them. An attempted murder crime is committed as soon as you take that deliberate step. Clearly, you don't need to actually kill the person. It should be noted that if you take a deliberate step towards killing someone and then later decide not to follow through, you can still be convicted of Penal Code 664/187 attempted murder. So let's read that last sentence again. It should be noted that if you take a deliberate step, now we saw what deliberate step is, right? We read what a deliberate step, what a direct step was. Okay. And it says it should be noted that if you take a deliberate step towards killing someone, then later decide not to follow through, you can still be convicted of Penal Code 664/187 attempted murder. Under California Penal Code 664/187, the legal penalties for an attempted murder conviction typically carries about 1/2 of the sentence you would have received if you had completed the crime. A conviction for attempted murder is always a felony offense and is broken down to 2 distinct degrees, including first degree and second degree attempted murder. If you are convicted of first degree attempted murder, meaning your attempt was deliberate and premeditated. Now, I'm going to stop right there. There are people that are going to say, well, that's clear cut. He premeditated the attack. He was deliberate on the attack. There it is, right? There it is, attempted murder. When we read aggravated assault, then we'll come up with a conclusion, or try to come up with a conclusion. Again, the prosecutor and the detectives and law enforcement in general have to prove that he deliberately wanted to go into that ring to deliberately kill, not just cause injury, bodily harm, but deliberately wanted to. They say unalive. This, even if this video is eligible for monetization, I don't care. We're gonna keep it a bug. We're gonna keep it 100. If he had every intent to go in that ring and kill him, even if he decided not to or got stopped there, then yes. But they have to prove that by the videos that is given to them. They have to prove that he deliberately wanted to kill him. Premeditated, wanted to kill. Like I said, your direct step must have been attempted to kill a specific person, not just injure them. And him saying, and Roger saying, I'm gonna fuck him up, I'm gonna fuck him up, I'm gonna fuck him up, or whatever he was saying. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck him up, I'm gonna do all this stuff, right? They can't say, well, he said he was gonna fuck him up. That means he wanted to kill him. Now, our day-to-day language might mean that to some people, right? Or our slang, whatever you want to call it, might mean that, depending on how you look at it. But just because our direct language might say, hey, he wants to fuck him up, that could also mean he might want to try to kill the motherfucker, right? Or try to kill him, excuse me. Let's be respectful here. Does not mean that is a lawful case. Okay, so they have to show that in order for an attempt, he should be charged with attempted murder. The prosecution, the law enforcement have to prove the judge to prosecute him for this and to go out for an arrest warrant for this. They have to prove that he deliberately took a direct step or specifically wanted to kill Psycho Stu. This is not coming from the court of public. This is the court of law. That's why I am taking out my own thoughts and my own emotions out of this and looking at the court of law according to California where this took place. Okay. The rest of this is just going about what could happen if you are charged with this. Okay. So now we're going to go over to the California website, the California Legislative Information website. This is an official government website. And this is for aggravated assault according to the state of California. Understand again, people, we are commenting from what our own state laws are and what we think it should be, right? But understand that we have to talk about this from a Californian perspective, a California law, because this is where this took place. And we have to talk about it from that sense or that regard. This is assault and battery, Chapter 9, assault and battery. And I think this is the same website I read from. So this is assault. Now, there's assault and battery, and then there's aggravated assault. So there's levels to this. We're gonna read this whole page. Okay. All right, here we go. 245, right? Penal Code 245. 245A. A person who commits an assault upon the person of another with a deadly weapon or instrument other than a firearm shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for 2, 3, or 4 years, or in a county jail not exceeding 1 year, or by a fine not exceeding $10,000, or both the fine and imprisonment. Any person who commits an assault upon the person, I think these are just the faces. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's do this. Well, stop sharing temporary. Okay, so that part we just, so I'm gonna look up the actual definition. That part was clearly just what you could face. We want to see what the actual code is. And like I said, getting this off an attorney's websites is great because these are attorneys. All right, so we're going to read this from the NateCrawleyLaw.com. Okay. And we're going to go back here. We're going to screen share again. Because I think the first one was, the first one was just the charge, the time you could face all those charges. All right, here we go. Aggravated assault is an elevated offense that results in severe injury to the victim and involves the use of a deadly weapon with intent to cause harm. Federal penalties for aggravated assault can be substantial, involving lengthy prison sentences, heavy fines, and other legal consequences, especially when the crime takes place on federal property, involves federal personnel, or crosses state lines. Okay, so we ain't got to worry about that because it didn't involve, I don't think it was on a federal property. Now, if it was, that'd be crazy. But we'll see. All right. Let's make sure. I'm not sure we get this right. Okay. Under federal statute, an aggravated assault charge may be prosecuted, which addresses assault within the maritime and territorial jurisdictions of the United States. This statute categorizes aggravated assault into various types, such as assault with intent to commit murder, assault with intent to commit any felony, and assault resulting in seriously bodily injury. Sentencing varies based on the nature of the assault and any aggravating factors present, with prison terms exceeding up to 20 years or more in severe cases. If a deadly weapon was used or serious bodily harm was inflicted, these factors may lead to even harsher punishments. Okay. Now, this part is about the legal defense. Let's see. I'm trying to see if we can get anything else. Maybe we'll go to a different website. Okay, aggravated assault charges in California. In California, aggravated assault is a serious offense under state law defined as an assault that involves either the intent to inflict significant bodily harm or the use of a deadly weapon or force likely to cause great bodily injury. Penal Code 245A outlines various types of aggravated assault, including assault with a deadly weapon and assault likely to produce great bodily harm. Unlike simple assaults, aggravated assault carries harsher penalties due to the increased threat poised to the victim's safety. California penalties for aggravated assault varies, and like federal rulings, depend on the specific circumstances, such as whether a weapon was used, the severity of the victim's injuries, and the defendant's criminal history. A conviction can result up to 4 years in state prison, substantial fines, and a permanent criminal record. In cases involving firearms or significant injuries, the penalties are more severe and may include sentencing enhancements. Defense against aggravated assault charges in California might include lack of intent to cause harm, self-defense, or the abuse of a deadly weapon. Legal representation is essential in these cases, as a skilled attorney can potentially negotiate reduced charges or explore alternate sentences options to minimize the penalties. Okay, so we're going to stop screen sharing here for a moment, and this is what I think, right? Now, we read both what aggravated assault and what attempted murder is, okay? And my thing is like, and I know what the number one defense is going to be, right? Well, Psycho Stu flatline. They say he flatlined, okay? They said that he flatlined. When he got the call, okay, it was very simple. He talked to a guy named Andre, and the guy, Andre, said they can't wake him up. He's flatlined. Okay. My thing is this. Now, we know Psycho Stu is awake and stable. Okay. Now, the only thing, and I had a little bit of time to read up on it. The only time I hear anything about Psycho Stu flatlining was the call that Raja got from the guy named Andre. I don't know if Andre is a best friend of his or an agent or management, whatever it may be. Okay. But I haven't seen anything official, like from the hospital or even from, or from the promotion, right? When people take that call from Andre or hear that call, they hear the flatline thing, attempted murder. But there is no definitive conclusion that he flatlined. Matter of fact, it shows that he was actually unconscious. And people need to understand the difference between flatlining and unconscious, right? Because when you're unconscious, you still have a pulse. When you flatline, you have no pulse. And with Psycho Stu being knocked into unconscious, but not flatlining, because there's no indication that he flatlined outside the phone call. And that was a speculation thing. Again, the courts cannot use speculation. They have to use evidence. And there is evidence that Psycho Stu was knocked unconscious. And there is evidence that Raja had every ill intent to cause bodily harm with disregard to the victim's life. Now, disregard to the victim's life is anything. It could, people will automatically think with disregard to the victim's life, death, murder, starts ringing off. But if I go up to somebody and go, I'm going to break your fucking ankle, and regardless if I proceeded to do that or not, I had every intent to cause bodily harm that affects the victim's life. Because if I break somebody's ankle intentionally break somebody's ankle, that's messing up their way of life, short term and long term. So do I think Raja gets attempted murder, should get attempted murder based off of the laws written by the state of California, no. And I think I said that in part 2, that I thought at most it would be the highest assault you can get, which is aggravated or felonious assault, whatever, depending on the state. But in California, it's called aggravated assault. So do I think Raja gets attempted murder? No. I think the most he gets is aggravated assault. And I don't think there is no negotiating it down to assault. If he can get a good ass lawyer that knocks it down to assault, bravo to that lawyer. I mean, let's be honest here. But between the first video that we reviewed, just in my microphone, just between the first video we reviewed and the video we reviewed today, there is no doubt that they can legally prove that he had every ill intent to cause seriously bodily harm, to cause serious injury with disregard to the victim's life. And disregard to the victim's life does not just mean to go out and kill, to go out and murder, to go out and, to use the political correct term, to go out and unalive somebody. Disregard to to the victim's life could also mean to cause any type, to have intent to break his arm, to have intent to knock him out unconsciously. That's ill intent of the victim's life. Because the victim's life, it could be, this has severely impacted Psycho Stu's way of life. And that is something that I believe that the prosecution and the law enforcement can prove, that he went in with every ill intent based off what we saw him talking with the chat, what we saw him actually do, and what actually was done. I do think that the court of law, the state of California, can prove that he had every ill intent to commit aggravated assault. However, I do not think they have enough evidence, regardless of what we think of what we say and what this saying means or that saying means. I do think that they do not have enough substantial evidence based off of what we read. Go to the website, based off of what we read. I don't think the courts have enough substantial evidence to charge or try to go after him for attempted murder. And that's just my 2 cents on this. This is Tyrell Jackson from the Nosebleeds. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope this video was informative. I hope it was very clear of what I'm trying to come across at. I try to apply to as much comments as I can. I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, Tyrell from the Nosebleeds, signing off.